Hello everybody, this is the HP Compact DC5850 and today we will be teaching you how to disassemble it step by step. Step 1. Make sure that the power is off by pressing this button and by going around and checking that all the power cables are unplugged from the back. Step 2. Locate all of the screws that secure the side panels to the back of the computer. Once found, remove them using the proper size and type of screwdriver. Some computers use plastic and metal latches that fasten components to the computer chassis. In our case, the computer doesn't have any screws and just slides off easily. Next, you put on the anti-static wrist strap. Connect one end of the conductor to the wrist strap, like so. Then clip the other end to the unpainted metal part of the case. Next, you want to locate the hard drive. Carefully disconnect the power and data cables from it. Once you've done that, locate all of the screws that hold the hard drive in place and remove them carefully. In our case, the hard drive is easily removed by sliding it out. Make sure not to remove the screws that hold the hard drive together. Next, you want to locate the optical drive. Carefully disconnect the power and data cables from it. Also, remove the audio cable if there is one connected. Next, locate and remove all of the screws that secure the optical drive, then remove the optical drive. In our case, it just slides out by pressing this button. Next, you want to locate the power supply. Find the power connections to the motherboard and gently remove them. Disconnect the power cables from any other things the power supply is connected to. These usually include the case fans, RAM, hard drive, etc. Then, take out the power supply. Next, you want to locate the memory modules on the motherboard and remove them. Make sure to release the locking tabs that may be securing the memory modules before carefully removing them. Next, you want to remove all the data cables from the motherboard. Make sure to take note of the connection locations of the cables that you disconnect in order to be able to reassemble the computer later. After removing all the data cables, the computer case should only contain the motherboard, the CPU, and the cooling devices. Everything else has been removed until this point. Now that we've finished disassembling the computer, we are going to teach you how to reassemble the computer. First of all, you want to check that only the motherboard, the CPU, and the cooling devices are installed. After double checking that you only have these three components installed, take the data cables and install them inside the motherboard ports. That goes there. And this goes here. After installing the data cables, you want to take your RAM modules and reinstall them inside of the ports that you took them out of. So first you align it, then you push it down with both hands slightly and it'll pop into place. Like that. You take the other one, put it in the other slot beside it, align it, use both fingers, push top and the bottom, and it'll click into place. Double check that they're closed, and you're done. After installing the RAM, you want to install the hard drive since it's under the power supply. Remember to plug in the data cables before you put it in, or else it'll be a hassle later. Plug it in there, then put it down like so. It'll just slide, oops, and it will just slide in like so. After installing the hard drive, you will want to install the power supply. In our case, it slides in this slot, but due to the side clips being broken, it takes a long time to install into the computer, so we will just cut to where it is installed. After installing the power supply, you will want to connect the wires from the power supply to the hard drive before we put in the optical drive, since it'll be a hassle to do it when it's underneath. So you'll take the hard drive wire and put it in like so. So once that is in, you'll want to connect the power supply to the motherboard. So you'll take the wires and connect them. Maybe lift it a little. This goes in here. And when it goes in, you should hear it click. Then you take this one and you put it in here. Line up the four lines and put it in like this. Then you want to take this one and put it here. You will also hear it click. And we're done installing the power supply. Now all that we have left to do is install the optical drive. To do so, make sure that the black part is facing down, and you will slide it in from the top in these 4 holes. Make sure they line up with the screws, and you will push them down, and the optical drive should fit right in. Next, you want to connect the cables from the power supply into the optical drive. One goes here. Then make sure the SATA data cable is also connected, and push it down nice and snug. Next, you want to disconnect the anti-static wrist strap from the computer. Take it off and put it back to wherever it was, and then put on the cover. After putting on the cover, you have now successfully disassembled and reassembled the computer.